Every other lender collapsed in 2022. BlockFi bankrupt, Celsius frozen, Voyager gone. But one platform kept processing loans, paying out interest, and never defaulted on a single client. While competitors were shut down, this company settled its US regulatory fight for $45 million, rebuilt its compliance stack, and came back stronger. It now manages over 11 billion in assets for more than 7 million users across 200 countries. The token is down 80% from its all-time high, under the radar, and it may just be undervalued, which is my favorite kind. That is Nexo. Today, we're breaking down the origin story, the business model, the tokenomics, the real risks, and the exact math on how many Nexo tokens we would need to retire as millionaires across 3 distinct scenarios. Let's get into it, guys. This is not financial advice, always do your own research. The year is 2017. 2 Bulgarian entrepreneurs, Antoni Trenchev, a former member of parliament and hedge fund trader, and Costa Kunchev, co-founder of European lending company Credissimo, are sitting on Bitcoin that they cannot spend. Not because they don't want to, but because the market just doesn't let you borrow against it. Here's the problem. At the time, crypto holders were forced to choose between selling or having zero liquidity. Well, Trenchev and Kunchev built the third option. In April 2018, Nexo launched the world's first instant crypto-backed credit line. Deposit Bitcoin, receive dollars, and never sell. Automated, instant, secured by your own collateral. And to help them validate their idea, they raised funding of $52.5 million in a private token sale. What followed next separates Nexo from every other cefi lender. Other platforms like Celsius and Voyager lent out money that they didn't have, backed by nothing, essentially nothing. Nexo did not do it. In fact, every loan had more collateral than it was worth. When 2022 wiped out the competition, Nexo had no bad debt, no frozen accounts, and no crisis to manage. But that discipline came at a regulatory cost. In January 2023, the SEC charged Nexo for offering unregistered securities through its earn interest product. Nexo paid $45 million, exited the US market without admitting wrongdoing, and spent 2 years rebuilding. On February 16, 2026, Nexo relaunched in the United States through a partnership with Bakkt, using regulated intermediaries instead of direct issuance. That's all good, but today the Nexo token still trades quite low, at approximately 76 cents, with a market cap around $760 million. In other words, I smell opportunity. For that reason, we're diving deep into Nexo's fundamentals, and right off the bat, the tokenomics is clean and investor-friendly. The total supply is 1 billion Nexo tokens, but only about 650 million are currently in circulation. The remaining are held in the wallets of the treasury, the team and advisors, airdrops and bounties, and also for marketing and operations. And here are the 3 mechanisms now that create real value for token holders. First is the daily yield. Nexo originally paid annual dividends, sharing 30% of net profit with its token holders. But then, in June 2021, the community voted to replace that model with something better: daily interest payments. Today, holding Nexo in your Nexo wallet earns you up to 9% APY. Then, the second mechanism is buybacks. What I mean by that is that Nexo regularly buys its tokens from the open market using company revenue and locks them in its investor protection reserve for a minimum of 12 months, that is. After that period, those tokens are used to fund daily interest payouts in Nexo and also strategic investments. 3 buyback programs totaling over $162 million have run since 2020, with the latest buyback in March 2023. The final mechanism that works in favor of Nexo token holders is the loyalty tiers. The more Nexo you hold as percentage of your portfolio, then the better your deal on the platform, meaning higher savings rates, lower borrowing rates, cashback, reduced fees. To be fair, the Nexo token seems to me like the closest thing in crypto to owning a small piece of a profitable, regulated fintech company that actually pays you back. Now, in terms of business performance, here's what the company is actually doing nowadays. Nexo has processed over $430 billion in transactions since 2018, manages over $7 billion in assets, and operates across about 200 jurisdictions. Looking at on-chain data from CryptoQuant, we see roughly 863 million in loans issued in just the past year, which is a significant number. Most people think you only have two choices with crypto actually: hold it or sell it. Well, Nexo built an entire platform around a third option. That is their flagship product, being the credit line. You deposit Bitcoin or Ethereum as collateral and instantly get dollars or stablecoins in return without any credit check, no fixed repayment, and you never have to sell your crypto. Then there's the savings side, as you can park your crypto or stablecoins on the platform of Nexo and then earn up to 15% interest annually. For trading, you can swap between over 100 assets directly inside the app, with futures available for more experienced users. There's also the Nexo card, provided by MasterCard in Europe and the UK, that works in two ways. A, you can either spend against your crypto like a credit card without selling it, or B, spend directly from your balance like a debit card. Either way, you get up to 2% cashback on every purchase. And for institutions, funds, family offices, corporate treasuries, there's Nexo Prime, which gives access to high limit over-the-counter trading, dedicated account managers, and proper credit solutions built around the scale that they operate at. So that's the full product stack. And as of February 2026, it is now available again in the world's largest financial market, that's the US. The Bakkt partnership gave Nexo a compliant route back into the States without changing the product structure that caused the 2023 settlement. So, if the US loan book grows meaningfully, dividends and buybacks follow. On the brand side, Nexo is the title sponsor of the DP World Tour's Nexo Championship, partners with the Argentine national football team, and sponsors the Audi Revolut F1 team. These have a very specific target indeed, the high net worth audience that its credit product is built for. Fair enough, I say. The business is real, the products work, and the brand is growing, as we now know. But before we get to the numbers, you need to understand what could go wrong. First and foremost is the regulatory tail risk. See, the US settlement is resolved, sure, but exposure is not zero. California, for instance, issued a separate $500,000 penalty in January 2026 for historical unlicensed lending. With 200 jurisdictions on the map of Nexo, any single one of these can move against the company. Second is the soft token to business connection. Look, dividends and buybacks require Nexo to stay profitable and choose to distribute. But if business performance weakens, then both mechanisms slow or even stop entirely. And in third place amongst the risks is that of competition, of course. DeFi lending on Aave and Morpho and cefi competitors like Ledn actually compete for the same borrowers. I understand that Nexo's over-collateralized model is disciplined. I respect that, but we also have to acknowledge that it kind of limits the addressable market that they are going for. None of these risks is an absolute deal breaker, but they are amongst the reasons why this token is still sitting at 80% below its all-time high. Which brings us that much closer to the Millionaire math. But first, a quick trip down memory lane for the past price performance. Nexo launched in April 2018 at around 18 cents. Then, in September that year, it traded 75% lower, and that was the bottom. Since that moment, it hit an all-time high of $4 right before the cefi collapse. It bottomed near 50 cents in late 2022 before recovering, and today it trades at approximately 76 cents, which is around 80% below its all-time high. So let's unpack how Nexo can make us millionaires now, starting with the bear case, and you might want to hold tight here. Nexo goes to $2. That's over 2.5x from today, and the market cap goes to around $1.3 billion. To reach $1 million portfolio in Nexo, you need 500,000 tokens, costing roughly $380,000 today. Moving on up with the base case in which the price smashes it to $4. That's approaching 5.5x from today, forming a market cap of nearly $2.6 billion. For the coveted 1 million, you'll have to grab 250,000 Nexo tokens today at the cost of about $190,000. Yes, I have saved the best for last, guys, and that is the bull case. Call me crazy, but Nexo reaches $10. Boom, that's more than 13.5x return, which brings us the market cap to $6.5 billion. The millionaire status can be yours if you buy 100,000 tokens today for about $76,000 and then just wait. There it is. Depending on which scenario plays out, you're looking at needing anywhere from 76k to 380k worth of Nexo today to hit a million. The range is quite wide, I understand, and it exists because of everything we covered in this video. Every other cefi lender that ran on loose credit and leverage just collapsed in 2022, but Nexo did not. It paid a regulatory fine, sure, exited the US, restructured, and came back again stronger. The token is down 80% from its high, and yet the business is processing billions in loans, including in the US. So, is that the setup the market hasn't priced yet? Or is the connection between business performance and token price just too soft, too brittle for it to ever drive a real revaluation in the market? That's what we need to make our minds up on. Now, guys, I want to know where you stand on this one, so please drop your Nexo price target in the comments and generally your experience with their platform or with the token if you have any. If this breakdown helped you, then I invite you to hit the like button, subscribe to the airdrops.com channel, and share the video with someone who's not familiar with lending against crypto collateral. Nexo might be the right fit for them. I'm Stan, and I thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Ciao.